Joe Petrucelli, 62. I attended the ethics board meeting, and when I was there, I found out that they never got any of the hard work that I did with the Wolkies and, the formation of the ethics committee. They didn't even know that we had given them all, literally all the stacks of the ethics information. I was just wondering why they didn't get that. And they even told me Mr. Lear didn't offer any support, and that's one of the reasons why it's taken them so long to get started. I since have given them, I had maintained a set of copies of all that information of the ethics regulations, the senator that's in charge of the Senate ethics, the local board, and all that other research we had done. I was just wondering if everybody's so seriously behind it, why wasn't the support given to them to make it a reality? As far as the rules on the ethics in the state statute, the financial disclosure goes to the local finance board, and it's under their auspice, and that's where it goes, the disclosure, to make sure they're properly filled out and correct. One thing that happens, and I just don't know how it happens, is we have obviously one is in particular 2.1.1, which we learned in when we had the matter in Superior Court, is an ordinance that the town has, and it's powers of the mayor. And when these ordinances are violated, nothing ever happens. So my question is, why do we even have ordinances? If we're going to have ordinances and there's no enforcement of them, why is it only the residents that have to follow the rules? I'm learning, this transit village goes all the way from Trenton to Edison. People are that blind of what's being done. Bauman is your bond attorney, he's your redevelopment attorney, and he's giving you independent advice for us. In our world, that's not independent. So why isn't this concept of redevelopment looked at by someone that's not billing Hart's Mountain? And I think he probably got through the developer's fees, maybe $130,000, in fees. So he's going to want you to give him redevelopment because he wants the power. You people are looking at it better than anybody because you don't have any knowledge. Your experts are supposed to give you the facts, and you're supposed to be like a jury. You know why we have a jury of our peers? So they don't look at the law and try to play lawyer. They look at the facts, and they put it on a scale, and if it tips one way, that's the evidence that they're supposed to go by. They don't play lawyer. Your job is to listen to the facts, gather the facts from the experts. You give the power to the experts, you just gave away every citizen's right in this town. The mayor came and embarrassed himself last night in front of the committee I sit on. And let me tell you something. I sit on a bonding committee. There are 25 people that come to that meeting, and everyone fights. They fight different arguments. And you know what? It's the most productive committee I've ever been involved with because everyone has a voice. The mayor wanted to meet separately with the architect. You know what the committee said? Absolutely not. You must involve the committee. Well, that's what you're doing to the residents. You're excluding those secret meetings that are going to go on with the redevelopment, and you're going to hear what you only want them. They're going to only let you hear what they want you to hear because they have a motive, not the best motive interest of the people. That whole plan with the county is to circumvent if the bond fails. Well, you know what? If the bond fails, you didn't do a good enough job explaining the need and why we need the bond. And the only reason the last bond failed was because the mayor was against the bond. Last night he goes, we need to unite and come together and work together. And so the first question is, Mayor, well, you're going to support it. Yeah, kind of gives the impression he's going to support it until it got to the Thomas Jefferson School being put on the site. Well, I oppose that. So then you obviously oppose the concept. But the reality is you have no land to put these schools. You got kids not in classrooms. Your whole tax base, the reason why people want to come to Edison is your school system, people. Your real estate value is driven by one reason. You have a good school system that's deteriorating. You have buildings since 1972 that have not been addressed. We did our homework in those committees. We sat with the people that are fixing it. We looked at the bills. We talked to the people that are dealing with this stuff. That bond is outside the box because the special ed's cost is outside the cap. The schools are going to be held to 4%. We're spending 15% increases. They bill us for a bill 2 years ago and say, by the way, you got to pay this new bill. So I've learned a lot about trying to cover cost. You want to fix the problem, and who's on the finance committee? Because I was interested. I know Mr. Muscola is. Ms. Pearlstein, are you on the finance committee?
Mrs. Griffin-Usack.
Ms. Griffin-Usack? Okay. You don't change the policy, you're wasting your time with the budget. You are capped by a law, and your hands are going to be tied. You just awarded a contract. I don't know how you're not going to have layoffs in Edison. I'm telling you as a financial person. I'm not talking to you as Joe Petrucelli resident. I'm talking to you strictly, and Mr. Massaro will attest to this. When I'm in those meetings, I'm an accountant. I put my accountant hat on, and we talk numbers. You got layoffs coming, because I don't know how you're going to solve the problem unless you have some other idea. Then, not to mention it, the mayor wants to use $5 million of clean commercial ratables, which would be tax relief, to build the school by funding it through the MCIA. Now, the only way you can do it is if the land is owned by the county. So we wouldn't even own the land. We'd be lessors, but we would be guaranteeing the debt. Did you ever hear of anybody going into debt that didn't own a piece of property of $50 million? Would you do that, Mr. Muscola and Ms. Pearlson? Would you do that? Would you take your house and pay a mortgage if you didn't own the house? These are the types of things that you need to look at. And I think you're so new that you got to give yourselves a chance to be council people. And you're rushing through these decisions. Take the time. This is not urgent. It's not going away tomorrow. It doesn't have to be done tomorrow. You'll get more credibility by taking your time and gathering your facts, because that's what you are. You are judges. You are to determine the facts for us residents. And I think you need to slow down and start thinking about some of the things that are said. Not everybody is up here to try to attack you, but you make it difficult.
Petrucelli, your time is up.